In the 21st century, bodybuilding has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. And in the rush to build the perfect physique overnight, everyone is using something. Supplements, energy pills, hormone replacements, steroids. But if you think this massive industry is built on male customers alone, you're wrong. Female bodybuilding has existed for decades. Women have been competing on stage, building muscle, and chasing championships just as long as men have. But here's what's changed. The competition has become more extreme. The standards have gotten more dangerous, and the willingness to do whatever it takes has reached a breaking point. Today, female bodybuilders are injecting the same drugs male bodybuilders use: anabolic steroids, testosterone, growth hormones. They're pushing their bodies past natural limits to win. The result? These women stop being women. But the most disturbing part? Many of them don't realize what's happening until it's too late. By the time they look in the mirror and don't recognize themselves, the damage is already permanent. Some of these women had tragic endings, their lives destroyed by the same drugs that built their muscles. Others caught themselves in time and fought to reclaim some piece of who they used to be. And some are still deep in the obsession, with no idea what's waiting for them at the finish line. Today, we're talking about female bodybuilders who became men, some by choice, some by accident, but all of them paid a price that no trophy could ever be worth. This is what happens when women cross the line in bodybuilding, and why some of them can never come back. Number 1, Joanna Thomas. Joanna Thomas was one of the most promising female bodybuilders in Britain during the early 2000s. She had the genetics, she had the work ethic, and she had the drive to compete at the highest level. But somewhere along the way, Joanna made a decision that changed everything. She started using exogenous testosterone, high doses, the kind that male bodybuilders use. At first, the results were exactly what she wanted. Her muscles grew faster. Her strength shot up. She was winning competitions and getting noticed. But then other things started changing too. Her voice began to drop, not slightly, dramatically. Within months, Joanna's vocal cords had thickened so much that she sounded like a man. Her larynx had permanently changed structure. People on the phone would call her sir. Then came the hirsutism, facial hair growth. A little fuzz at first, then thicker, darker. She had to shave her face daily, just like a man would. But the most disturbing change? Clitoral hypertrophy. Her clitoris started growing from androgenic hormones. In some cases, this can reach several inches in length, permanently. Joanna realized too late what was happening. She stopped the anabolic steroids, went to endocrinologists, tried hormone replacement therapy to reverse the virilization. Nothing worked. Her voice stayed deep. The hirsutism kept progressing. The morphological changes to her reproductive system were irreversible. But the physical changes weren't even the worst part. Joanna stopped recognizing herself. Every time she looked in the mirror, she saw someone else, someone she never wanted to become. Her mental health deteriorated rapidly. Severe depression set in. Dysphoria consumed her daily life. Friends said she became withdrawn, isolated. The woman who once loved being on stage now couldn't stand being seen in public. On March 23, 2008, Joanna Thomas took her own life. She was only 39 years old. The coroner's report listed the cause of death, but everyone who knew her story understood the real reason. Joanna Thomas got the muscles she wanted, but she lost the person she was, and there was no going back. Number 2, Candace Armstrong. The story I'm about to tell you is the most shocking case in this entire video. Candice Armstrong was a pretty blonde barmaid working in London. She had the kind of looks that turned heads. Men approached her constantly, but Candice wasn't satisfied. When she looked in the mirror, all she saw were flaws. So she joined a gym. She wanted to tone up, get fit, but something went wrong in her mind. Candice developed body dysmorphic disorder. No matter how much progress she made, it was never enough. She started working out 3 hours a day, every single day, but her mind kept telling her she needed more. That's when someone at the gym introduced her to trenbolone. Trenbolone is one of the most powerful androgenic steroids that exists. It's so strong that it's primarily used on cattle to increase muscle mass before slaughter. Candice started injecting daily doses. Within weeks, her muscles were growing rapidly. But other things were changing too. Her voice dropped, deeper and deeper until she sounded like a man. Then came the facial hair, stubble. She had to shave every morning. Her shoulders broadened. Her hips narrowed. She started walking like a man without even realizing it. But the most shocking change? Her clitoris began growing from the massive doses of androgens. It grew to 1 inch long. Candace had essentially grown male genitalia. Her transformation became so extreme that she stopped wearing women's clothes entirely. People thought she was a man in drag, so she switched to men's clothing. She avoided women's restrooms because other women would complain that a man had walked in. Even her own mother looked at her and said, "You're not pretty anymore." Her GP actually asked if she was undergoing gender reassignment surgery, but Candace didn't want to become a man. She never wanted this. She just wanted to look fit. Her sex drive completely disappeared. She tried being intimate with men. Nothing. She even tried women. Still nothing. When her story went public in 2013, Candace admitted she was trying to quit Trenbolone, but she was still working out 3 hours a day, still trapped. The changes were permanent. Her voice would never go back. The facial hair would keep growing. Her clitoral hypertrophy was irreversible. Candace Armstrong got the muscles she wanted, but she lost herself in the process. Number 3, Denise Rutkowski. Denise Rutkowski was called the Golden Panther. In 1993, she placed second at the Miss Olympia. She was on top of the bodybuilding world. Magazines featured her constantly because she had that blonde bombshell look combined with serious muscle mass. She was 5 feet 5 inches, competed at 155 pounds, and had everything going for her. But within a few years, everything fell apart. The steroids that built her career didn't just stop working when she retired. The damage was done. Her body had been flooded with male hormones for years. Her voice had dropped. Her facial structure had changed. Her jawline became masculine and square. But the physical changes weren't the worst part. Denise developed severe drug addiction. She went from performance-enhancing drugs to street drugs. Her mental health collapsed. She was officially diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but by then she was already spiraling out of control. In 2012, photos of Denise surfaced that shocked the bodybuilding world. Police mugshots. She'd been arrested for evading police. When people saw the photos, they couldn't believe it was the same woman. Her face was covered in facial hair. Her eyes looked completely vacant. Her hair was wild and unkempt. The Golden Panther looked like a homeless man. The steroids had permanently masculinized her face. The years of drug abuse had destroyed what was left. She was unrecognizable. Denise Rutkowski went from second place at the Miss Olympia to a drug addict living on the streets in less than 2 decades. She's still alive today. But the woman who once graced the covers of every bodybuilding magazine in the 90s is gone. The steroids gave her muscles and fame, but they took her face, her voice, her mental stability, and eventually her entire life. Denise got everything she wanted on stage and lost everything that mattered off it. Number 4, Nicole Bass. Nicole Bass was impossible to miss. At 6 feet 2 inches tall, with a frame that looked like it belonged on a male heavyweight wrestler, Nicole stood out everywhere she went. She wasn't just a bodybuilder. She was a professional wrestler who appeared in ECW and WWE. She became famous as a bodyguard for wrestlers, standing beside them looking more intimidating than most men in the ring. But Nicole's size and appearance came at a cost. Years of anabolic steroid use had completely transformed her body beyond what nature intended. Her shoulders were massive, her jawline was sharp and masculine. Her voice had dropped so deep that on the phone, people always assumed she was a man. Her facial features had masculinized to the point where strangers would stare. Children would point. People would whisper. Nicole tried to embrace it. She appeared on Howard Stern's radio show multiple times, becoming part of his Whack Pack group of regular guests. She performed. She entertained. She tried to own her appearance. But behind the scenes, Nicole's life was falling apart. After being released from WWE, she sued the company for $120 million, claiming wrongful termination and assault. The case dragged on for years. She lost. The stress was enormous. Her wrestling career ended. Her bodybuilding days were long over, and the damage to her body was permanent. In February 2017, Nicole Bass suddenly became very ill. She was rushed to the hospital. Her girlfriend, Kristen, stayed by her side 24/7 as doctors tried everything to save her. But there was nothing they could do. Nicole's cardiovascular system had been under extreme stress for decades. Pumping blood through a 6 foot 2 inch frame, carrying that much muscle mass, combined with years of steroid use, had taken its toll. Nicole Bass died on February 17th, 2017. She was only 52 years old. Her girlfriend posted on Facebook, "Many people knew Nicole, but few ever got close enough to know the real woman that she was." That was the tragedy. 5. Iris Kyle. Iris Kyle is the most successful female bodybuilder in history. 10-time Ms. Olympia champion. More titles than any woman who ever stepped on stage. She dominated the sport for over 2 decades. But if you look at photos of Iris from her early career in the late 1990s and compare them to photos from her later years, you're looking at 2 completely different people. In her early competitions, Iris still had feminine facial features. Her voice was relatively normal. She looked like a muscular woman. But as the years went on and the doses increased, everything changed. Her jawline became square and prominent. Her brow ridge thickened. Her cheekbones became more angular and masculine. The soft features of her face disappeared entirely. Her voice dropped dramatically. When Iris speaks in interviews now, her vocal cords have been permanently altered by decades of androgenic steroids. The tone, the depth, the resonance, it all sounds male. Her shoulders broadened far beyond what female skeletal structure normally allows. Her hips narrowed. Her entire body shape transformed from an hourglass figure to a V-taper typically only seen in men. But here's what makes Iris Kyle's case different from the others. She kept going. Even as her body masculinized year after year, even as her face changed beyond recognition, Iris didn't stop. She kept competing, kept winning, kept pushing. Because in women's bodybuilding, the more masculine you look, the more you win. The judges rewarded her transformation. Every time her body became more extreme, more androgenized, more male-looking, she placed higher. So Iris made a choice. She chose the trophies over her feminine appearance. She chose victory over her natural body. And she got what she wanted. 10 Miss Olympia titles, legendary status, her name in the record books forever. But the cost was permanent. The deep voice will never go back. The masculine bone structure in her face can't be reversed. The changes to her body are written into her skeleton now. Iris Kyle won everything in bodybuilding. But the woman who started competing in the 90s no longer exists. She traded her feminine identity for a trophy case. And unlike the others on this list, she did it willingly, knowing exactly what would happen. Some people call that dedication. Others call it a cautionary tale. Either way, Iris Kyle proved that in female bodybuilding, becoming a man isn't a side effect. It's the goal. Number 6. Lenda Murray. Lenda Murray won the Miss Olympia title 8 times. 8. That put her in the history books as one of the greatest female bodybuilders who ever lived. She dominated the sport throughout the 1990s and even came back in 2002 to win again. But if you look at Lenda's face from her first competition compared to her final one, you're looking at two completely different people. Her jawline transformed. In her early photos, she had a softer, rounder face. By the end of her career, her jaw was square, prominent, and undeniably masculine. Her cheekbones became more angular. Her brow ridge thickened. Even the shape of her skull seemed to change as years of androgenic steroids altered her bone structure in ways that can't be reversed. Her voice dropped significantly. When Lenda speaks in interviews, the deep tone is permanent. Her vocal cords thickened from testosterone exposure and will never return to their original pitch. But Lenda's transformation went beyond just her appearance. After retiring from competition, Lenda wanted what most women want: a family, a normal life, maybe marriage and children. But the years of steroid use had made that complicated. Her fertility had been severely impacted. The massive doses of male hormones had disrupted her reproductive system for so long that conceiving naturally became extremely difficult. Beyond that, the psychological adjustment was brutal. Lenda had spent decades building a physique that won trophies. But now, outside the bodybuilding world, she had to navigate regular life looking and sounding the way she did. Dating became difficult. Social situations were awkward. People stared. The masculinization that judges rewarded on stage made her stand out in ways she didn't always want off stage. But here's where Lenda's story differs from some of the others. She fought back. Lenda sought medical treatment, hormone replacement therapy, counseling. She worked with endocrinologists to try and restore some hormonal balance to her body. She couldn't reverse the bone structure changes. Her voice would stay deep forever, but she could work on her health, her fertility, and her mental well-being. And slowly, things improved. Lenda eventually found stability. She built a life outside of bodybuilding. She became a fitness coach and mentor. She learned to accept what couldn't be changed and improve what could. Today, Lenda Murray is still involved in the fitness industry. She's healthy. She's found peace with her transformation. But make no mistake, the woman who started bodybuilding in the late 80s is gone. The soft features, the higher voice, the feminine bone structure, all of it was traded for those 8 Miss Olympia titles. Lenda Murray won everything in bodybuilding. And while she eventually found happiness, she paid a price that can never be fully refunded. Number 7. Alina Popa. Alina Popa from Romania started bodybuilding at 18 just to lose weight and stay fit. 20 years later, she'd won the Rising Phoenix World Championships and retired as one of the most extreme female bodybuilders the sport had ever seen. But the transformation from that 18-year-old girl in Brela to the woman who stepped off stage in 2018 was shocking. Alina's face had completely masculinized. Her jawline became square and prominent. Her facial features looked undeniably male. Her voice dropped so deep that in interviews, she sounds like a man. Her role model was Lenda Murray. She wanted to be just like her, and she achieved that goal. She placed second at Miss Olympia twice. She competed at the highest level for nearly a decade, but the cost was visible in every photo. Her shoulders were massive. Her back measured 47 inches around. Her physique was so extreme that even in the world of female bodybuilding, people were shocked. After retiring in 2018, Alina moved into fitness promotion. She became vice president of Wings of Strength and now organizes bodybuilding competitions across Europe. She's successful. She's respected in the industry. She found a career after competition. But the girl who walked into that Romanian gym at 18 is gone forever. The feminine features, the higher voice, the softer appearance, all of it was traded for trophies and titles. Alina Popa got everything she wanted in bodybuilding. She's alive, healthy, and successful. But she's living proof that you can win every battle in this sport and still lose something you can never get back. Number 8, Natalia Kuznetsova. Natalia Kuznetsova is the biggest female bodybuilder walking the planet right now. At 5 feet 7 inches and over 220 pounds, with biceps measuring over 20 inches around, Nataliya isn't just big for a woman. She's bigger than most men who lift weights. Her nickname is Amazonka, and when you see her, you understand why. Nataliya started lifting weights at 14 because she was too skinny. She weighed only 40 kilograms and wanted to gain muscle mass. Her coach saw potential and pushed her into bodybuilding and powerlifting. By 15, she was already a regional champion in Russia. But as the years went on and the doses increased, Nataliya transformed into something the world had never seen before. Her voice dropped so deep that it's shocking to hear. When Nataliya speaks, the sound is unmistakably male. Her vocal cords thickened so much from years of anabolic steroids that she has one of the deepest voices in all of female bodybuilding. Her facial features masculinized dramatically. Her jawline became square and heavy. Her facial structure looks male. Her chest measures 50 inches around. Her thighs are over 30 inches. Her biceps are bigger than most professional male bodybuilders. But here's what's different about Nataliya. She doesn't hide it. She's completely open about using steroids and performance-enhancing drugs. She admits it publicly. She doesn't pretend to be natural. Nataliya is married to Vladislav Kuznetsov, who is also a bodybuilder. But even he looks small standing next to her. She's bigger, more muscular, and more extreme than her own husband. She currently lives in Montenegro and still competes. She's built a career out of being the most extreme example of what female bodybuilding can become. Natalia Kuznetsova got everything she wanted: fame, size, strength, a career in the industry. But the 40-kilogram teenage girl from Chita, Russia, is completely gone. What replaced her is the biggest, most masculinized female bodybuilder the world has ever seen. And she's still growing. 8 women, 8 different stories, but one undeniable truth. When female bodybuilders start using male hormones, they don't just build muscle, they rebuild their entire identity. Some of them died from it. Some of them survived but lost themselves. And some are still competing, watching their reflection change year after year. The trophies sit on shelves, the titles fade from memory, but the deep voice, the facial hair, the masculine bone structure, those stay forever. Female bodybuilding isn't just about building muscle anymore. It's about how far you're willing to go and whether you can live with what's left when the competition is over. Because in the end, you can win every title, break every record, and stand on every stage. But if you don't recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror, did you really win anything at all?